It's not incidental that the time of SHOVAVIM, that is the auspicious time to do TeShuva for immorality. Specifically, wasting seed, whether it's addiction to pornography or LGBTQ behavior or adultery or promiscuity, both for men and women. This is the auspicious time where HaKadosh Baruch Hu opens up the gates in order to help you do TeShuva for it if you simply so try. So the book of Shemot that begins this time starts with this first lesson. The foundation of Am Yisrael comes from Yaakov. Why Yaakov? Because Yaakov was Kadosh. Not because he prayed 3 times a day, not because he learned Torah, but rather because Yaakov protected his brit so much so that the first seed that ever came out of his body, as we learned in last week's Parashat Vayechi, was the seed that was used by HaKadosh Baruch Hu to bring Reuven into the world. The first seed that ever came out of his body was at the age of 87 years old. So, Sefer Shemot starts off by letting us know that Am Yisrael's foundation came from Yaakov Avinu. And the reason why HaKadosh Baruch Hu chose Yaakov Avinu is because Yaakov Avinu protected his brit from the moment that he brought to this world. The moment that his eyes opened up, he protected his brit, and a seed did not leave his body until he was 87 years old. Such a holy person is one of our forefathers. Now, if a person simply understood just this, it should be motivating enough for one to do TeShuva. But what can we do that most people don't really understand the magnitude of this? And therefore the Torah teaches us further, where it says, Yosef aya b'Mitzrayim, the same sentence. What does it mean that Yosef was in Mitzrayim? Yosef was buried in Egypt, where HaKadosh Baruch Hu made sure that Moshe Rabbeinu took out the bones of Yosef Tzaddik out of Egypt and buried him in Eretz Yisrael. Why? Because Yosef was a tzaddik. Why was he a tzaddik? Because he protected his brit. When the beautiful Eshet Potifar, which the Gemara says was one of the most beautiful women that ever lived, came on to him on a regular basis as he was a servant in our house and tried to entice him to be with her, he refused time and time again, to the point where eventually he landed in prison just for the sake of protecting his brit. Rabbi Yaron, one of the holiest men that lived in the last century, writes in his Sefer Taharat HaKodesh that when someone protects their brit, HaKadosh Baruch Hu protects them and ensures that all matters relating to them, he himself takes care of, just like Yosef Tzaddik, and even beyond their life. Yosef died, and all of his brothers and the entire generation, and the children of Israel increased, reproduced, multiplied, and became mighty, very, very much so, and the land became filled with them. Rabbi Yaron teaches that the entire salvation of HaKadosh Baruch Hu bringing Mashiach depends on the brit of Am Yisrael. Depends on the morality of Am Yisrael. After the Mashiach comes, the Bet HaMikdash depends on the brit of Am Yisrael. The entire foundation of this world only has reason to exist because of the brit of Am Yisrael. When a person protects their brit, they give themselves benefits that they cannot even imagine. even if we review it, because simply each one of them is bigger than the next, and you can't even imagine the first. So when a person achieves the extraordinary insight that Kedusha has to be their number one priority in their life. For men, of course, protecting their bleat. For women, of course, same thing. Not just in that particular matter, but also modesty and everything that has to do with the issues of Kedusha, with morality. If you're walking around immodest, you're not only losing the Kedusha that you can easily acquire, but you're actually causing Tum'ah to come to the world. The loss is unimaginable, even without considering the punishment that ultimately will be given to those women that walk around immodestly. The loss that is created by you walking around immodestly, by you looking at immodest women, by you doing things that are antithetical to the Torah when it comes to the matters of Kedusha, the loss that you have in this world is literally unimaginable. How much you lose. By the time a person gets to the Bet Din of heaven and is told how much they lost because of immorality, the Zohar Kadosh says, and even the Gemara as well, the person themselves says to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, put me in Gehenom. You are the righteous judge. Put me in Gehenom. So when a person achieves the major milestone of realizing the importance of Kedusha, they start going on the path, protecting their eyes, of not going to certain places that they know that it will lead them to look at things that are inappropriate, act inappropriately, commit adultery, commit promiscuity, destroy their Kedusha. They go on the path. But of course, the Satan is also on that same path, trying to ruin it for you. Each time you don't look, each time you don't act, you could ask for a specific blessing from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And as you protect your bleat more and more, for a longer period of time, you start gaining things. Protection, prosperity, perpetuity. HaKadosh Baruch Hu becomes your personal protector. Those that want to destroy you, those that want to hurt you, those that want to take from you, now have to deal with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. They have no permission to go next to you. And you see this with your own eyes. Sometimes years after the fact, sometimes months, sometimes moments. But you see how certain things were, according to the nature of the world, that was supposed to happen. But it didn't happen. Why? You protect your bleat. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, I protect you.